we finished as runners-up in the JD Cymru South Division in our first season of FM24 on tour. Our first club, Briton Ferry, may have finished runners-up in the league, but a victory in the JD Welsh Cup final means, bizarrely, we've qualified for Europe, despite not gaining promotion. Our first qualifying game is early July, so we better get doing some transfer business. And get busy, we did. Let's meet the new guys. Goalkeeper Kasper Kowalczyk is the first signing. He's going to provide competition between the sticks. He's another former QPR prospect, most recently sat on the bench at Reading. We also signed goalkeeper Oliver Davis. He's got decent attributes and makes a fine backup keeper. He last played for recently relegated Trevelyan. This is left winger and striker Gerald Sellers. He has some blistering pace, and that's going to be a very useful asset in our attack this season. He last turned out for Redditch United, but he previously played in the Swedish Premier Division. I've got high hopes for this guy. This is Odin Samuel Smith. He's a natural centre-back who's got good crossing pace and natural fitness. So I think he's going to be our starting right-back this season. He was formerly on the books at Everton. 18-year-old Rory Powell doesn't have the physical attributes I want from my defenders, but he is being retrained to play as a ball-winning defensive midfielder. He's a former prospect at Newcastle United. Cody Pennington looks to be a promising deep-line playmaker and should start for us this season. He's a former Liverpool reserve player. Sebastian Jensen will be our starting goalkeeper this season. He's got some great goalkeeping attributes, and he's another former Everton prospect. I like the look of Darren Palmer. He's fast and he can hit a cross. He should be great on the right wing in our new look attack this season. Another former Newcastle player. Noah Halford has the attributes we need for a centre-back at this level and should see plenty of game time. He was released by Bolton Wanderers. Scott Bailey will partner Halford at centre-back. He has a lethal 15 jump and reach and is no slouch in the pace department, and he's got high determination. Another former Newcastle prospect. Jamie Arnold has a strong mental and physical game and should get time up front. He joins us on loan from League 2 Colchester United. We did also sign Matti Lusakoenu on loan. He's got decent pace and finishing. And he joined us on loan because we were short of cover up front from Dagenham and Redbridge. And we also picked up Jordan Pownell for similar reasons on loan from Gresford. For some reason, strikers have just been hard to come by in this transfer window. We were short on defensive cover, so to boost our numbers, I signed Phil Mooney, Sam Hart and Callum Roberts, but don't expect to see much of them. They're my break glass in case of emergency type of players. Osman Foyo can play in a variety of positions and looks to have some real quality. He's on just £150 a week and should be an absolutely brilliant signing for us. Look, he even had an appearance for Ipswich in the Championship last season. All of which means we're odds-on favourites to win the league this season, and the Dream 11 has 8 of our players. We had a good window. We've signed some seriously good players for this level, and we're really only lacking a top quality striker. If we don't win promotion this season, I'll eat my hat. Or maybe a cake in the shape of a hat, like one of those hyper-realistic ones. Or maybe just a nice cake. Just looking at our salary per annum, we have by far the biggest wage budget in the division. I'm thinking old Win the Chairman must be some sort of sugar daddy for us to have this sort of funding. Now, as I mentioned, we've got some European football to play. We got drawn against Montenegrin side FK Srtheska Nikšić, and we played them in the, right, deep breath, this is a ridiculously long name, the UEFA Europa Conference League League Path second qualifying round first leg. I mean, that's just silly. That's right up there with Clanfai Pwchwingich Geritron Drobol Clantasilio Gogogroch for really long names, you know? But this was a lucky draw for us, and so it proved as we ran out 3-0 winners in the first leg. In the second leg, we faced them at their place. They went ahead after 8 minutes thanks to this lovely goal from Pajovic. Jamie Arnold looked sharp and reacted quickly to capitalise on this mistake and level the game. Sellers was played in nicely by Midgley and put this one away to make it 2-1 on the night and 5-1 on aggregate. Turns out Europe's easy. Bring on the next team. And that next team is IFK Norrköping of the Swedish Premier Division. That's the 24th most reputable league in Europe, whereas we're in the 182nd, behind even the Luxembourg First Division. Yeah, this one might be a bit tougher. And so it proved as we lost the away leg 2-0, and then the home leg 2-0, thanks to this goal from Cisse and a headed effort from Nyman, meaning we crashed out. But it's not all bad news, as despite only being in the competition for a sip of a cup of coffee, we got some decent lump sums, meaning our bank balance sits at 822,000. That's nice to have as we start the second season here. We rounded out July with a 5-0 win over Avon Lido in the Nathaniel MG Cup first round. And in the league, we got underway with a 1-0 win over Bagland Dragons, with Nightingale putting this one on a plate for Arnold to score. So let's look at what I think is our strongest team as we head into the new season. I'm thinking Jensen in goal, Samuel Smith at right back, Tom Midgley at left back, Bailey and Halford at centre-back, Powell still learning defensive midfield, but he will come good as our ball-winning midfielder, Pennington as the deep-line playmaker, Sellers and Palmer on either wing to use their pace to help us along, and Foyo's an interesting one because he'll be occupying the attacking midfielder position behind Arnold to start the season, but if we need to revert back to 4-4-2, Foyo's versatility means he can play on either wing, up front or defensive midfield, so we've got options. So as we roll into August, the board granted my request to improve the training and youth facilities. So the training facilities are going to cost us 400k, and the youth facilities are going to cost us just under 200k. It was nice having money for like 5 minutes. August was a very busy month for us, with 8 games taking place. The highlight of the month was a victory against Pontypridd. The wingers union linked up really well as Sellers crossed in for Palmer to score. Sellers then did well to get on the end of this ball from Powell to get our second. Sellers and Palmer linked up well again to get goal number 3. They pulled one back after this devastating ball from Bevan allowed Kayamo to score. Sellers was at it again to thump this one in. He's been fantastic in this game. Pennington calmly put away this penalty before Elliott scored this worldie to bag a consolation in the 89th minute. The game ended 5-2 to us. This was a statement win. We mean business this season. Although we did have a great start to the month, we do have to talk about the low light of the month, which was a disappointing 1-0 loss to Carmarthen. They scored thanks to this header from Monks. But having said that, we did progress in the second round of the Nathaniel MG Cup with a nice 4-1 win against Cardiff Corries, and we won every other league game, meaning we sit first in the league 2 points ahead of Abertillery Bluebirds. There were not 1, not 2, but 3 different cup competitions to contend with in September, so let's catch up on them. We beat Pontypridd again, putting 4 past them this time to progress in the Tier 2 League Cup first round. We needed penalties to get past Premier Division outfit Newtown after a 0-0 stalemate. We played Mumbles in the JD Welsh Cup first round. Since we're the holders of this cup, let's check out how we got on. Samuel Smith played in Darren Palmer, who put this effort away to put us 1-0 up. Mumbles then equalised with namesake Joe Palmer smashing this one in to even things up. A lovely deft touch from Foyo played in Jamie Arnold for this goal. Palmer with a lovely cross to allow Arnold to head in his second and our third of the afternoon. We fell asleep at the back and Mumbles took advantage with this goal from Nakomba. Sellers capped off a nice afternoon's work with this beautiful cultured strike from distance. This one finished 4-2. So next up, we had an early season, top of the table clash with Abertillery Bluebirds to contend with. We started brightly after Sellers did well to put this one away after picking up on a loose ball at the far post. However, in the second half, Methven found himself in acres of space to smash this one in the skirmish following a corner. Methven then headed this one in the 92nd minute, meaning we lost this one 2-1. Their match stats were incredibly even. They look like they're going to be the team to beat this season. To be honest, I'm having flashbacks to Cambrian and Clydach last season, and with good reason, as at the end of September we sit in a familiar second place. 1 point behind the Bluebirds. This is not good enough. It's not all doom and gloom, as we were granted permission from old Winnie the Chairman to study for our National A licence, which should take around 4 months. I also asked about a partnership with another club, and we got one, with non-league Tata Steel. I was just curious what this would do for us. There's no fee involved, so there's certainly no harm in us having this link. October saw us having just 2 league games and 3 cup games, and I'm glad to say we progressed in all 3 cups. We beat Cardiff Corries 1-0 in the JD Cup second round, Abergavenny 3-0 in the Tier 2 League Cup second round, and most satisfyingly of all, we beat last year's JD Cymru South champions Cambrian and Clydach 4-0 in the Nathaniel MG Cup quarter-final. So let's take a look at our 2 league games. First up, we played Avon Lido. We got off to a flyer as Midgley hit a long ball to Jamie Arnold, who did well to round the keeper and put this one away after just 27 seconds. A nice team move saw Arnold put away this low cross from Palmer. Palmer then put his pace to good use to get a yard on the defender and smash this one in. They then scored a penalty to pull one back. And I feel like our keeper Jensen should have done better with this effort, which allowed it to become 3-2. Look at the match stats for this game. There's no way we should only be winning this 3-2. We have to stop making silly mistakes if we want to go up as champions this season. And our other league game saw us take on Cumbrae Celtic. We opened the scoring after 7 minutes, Foyo playing in Sellers, who cut in from the left to score. They then got in behind and levelled the game thanks to this goal from Meechan. Foyo then started this move by winning a tackle, and he ended it by showing his class with this great finish. He really is a star. Again, a ball over the top was our undoing, as Ismaili raced in behind to put this one away. 2-2 on the day. That's a game we should be winning. We do sit top of the table at the end of October, level on points with Abertillery Bluebirds thanks to goal difference. You'll notice the team we just drew with are struggling right at the bottom of the table. We really should be beating them. And speaking of struggling teams, we actually had our first job interview offer since we joined Briton Ferry, as Pontypridd offered us a job interview. They're struggling right near the bottom of the same division that we're currently sitting top of, so I declined it. But hey, it's nice to be wanted. There's a pattern developing as we again had 2 league games and 3 cup games in November. We ran out 4-2 winners against Cairo Ellie in the JD Welsh Cup 3rd round, and 4-1 winners against Pontrydar in the Tier 2 League Cup 3rd round. We also had a big game against Premier Division team Barry. Whenever I hear Barry, I just think of Gavin and Stacey, or Barry from EastEnders. Old Bazza went ahead after 12 minutes after yet again we failed to deal with a corner for the 1 millionth time. Foyo played in Arnold to apply the finish to show Barry what's occurring. Palmer La scored this absolute beauty of a goal to put us ahead. Centre-back Bailey headed in a Pennington corner to make it 3. Sellers then scored with an assist from Palmer, so we may not know what happened on the fishing trip, but we do know we just beat a Premier Division team 4-1. But as well as things went in the cups for us, I'm afraid the league was another story. We played Llanelli Town, who are one of the better sides in our division. We got off to a bright start with Pennington crossing in for Palmer to nod it in at the far post. However, a well-taken free kick on 72 minutes for them saw the game end 1-1. We also played Llantwit Major, who scored their winning goal in the 93rd minute to beat us 1-0. So as you can imagine, the league table's not looking great. We're 5 points behind Abertillery Bluebirds and level on points with Llantwit Major, with Llanelli just 2 points behind us. If we don't find form soon, this season could be a total disaster. December was a busy old month for us, as is often the case in football. But it was off the pitch where we were busiest, as we had confirmation both our training and youth facilities had now been upgraded. Yes, I'm pleased to report that we're now the proud owners of below average training facilities and basic youth facilities. Well, that was worth spending all our money on. Back on the pitch and the JD Welsh Cup as we took on Conway of the JD Cymru North Division. They actually have a couple of our former players at centre-back as they picked up Brandon Thomas and Tom Bamford from us last season. Into the action, Palmer got onto the end of an Arnold cross to head in our first. If you're wondering why Palmer's scoring so many headers, that would be because of his awesome 15 jumping reach. This guy's just got great physical attributes. Foyo did well to fire in through a sea of bodies to get our second. Foyo was on hand again to finish at the near post after being played in by Powell. Arnold practically walked this one in thanks to some poor defending from Conway. Shaw then worked a nice 1-2 with Arnold to get our 5th. So 5-0 on the day. That felt good. We then took on Cardiff Corries in the league. Sellers crossed in, Foyo headed it down, and Arnold applied the finish to get us off to a good start. The celebrations were short-lived though, as Cody Pennington went down and stayed down in the 28th minute, being stretchered off. Let's hope he's not too badly hurt. We got our second when Sellers picked his spot and applied a great finish. We were 2-0 winners on the day. And it was bad news for poor Cody Pennington as he's out for up to 9 months with a broken lower leg. This means he misses the rest of the season and may well have played his last game for us. It's a real shame as he's been something of a creative force for us, chipping in with 11 assists so far this season. Speedy recovery, Cody. So we needed a deep line playmaker and I asked my director of football for some recommendations. And he came up with 26-year-old midfielder Ben Fox. He's lacking in the physicals, but everything else looks great, and he should be a fine deep line playmaker for us. He was last at Aldershot but never played a game for them. Before that he was playing regularly for Northampton Town in League 1, so he does look to be a quality signing. Plus, he only wanted £25 per week. Oh, and if you're wondering how Rory Powell's getting on with his defensive midfielder training, he's now a natural. He's doing a fine job as a ball-winning midfielder for us. We end January top of the league, but Abertillery Bluebirds are just 1 point behind us with 2 games in hand due to 2 of their games being postponed due to bad weather. This is too close for comfort. Some bad news as we get into January. January saw our star goalkeeper Sebastian Jensen sadly leave. He decided to join Bradford Park Avenue. He really wanted to speak to them, so there wasn't much I could do. It was either see him lead a mutiny and our morale takes a hit, which impacts our form, or let him go and replace him as quickly as possible. The squad did come to me and let me know they were concerned about him leaving, but I promised him I'd get a suitable replacement. And replace him I did. Twice actually for some reason. We brought in Kit Margetson on loan from Swansea City. He has some pretty good attributes and will do a fine job till the end of the season. We also signed Bradley Foster on a permanent transfer. He was last contracted to West Brom and he's a very similar player to Margetson, and I'm happy to let them fight it out for the starting position. My squad also complained to me in January about not having enough depth up front. I mean, to be fair, the 2 other loanee strikers that aren't JB Arnold both left because I wasn't playing them enough. But we are the second highest league goal scorers. I mean, seriously, look at Llanelli Town. How have they got 47 goals? Let's have a look. I see they hammered Pontypridd 7-1 and regularly score between 2 and 4 goals per game. Fair enough. So to appease my whinging squad, I said I'd get someone else in. I dipped back into the loan market as we're at our limit on wages, and we picked up Frankie Baker on loan from Millwall. He actually does make a nice addition to our front line. So thank you for complaining, whingy players. The most goal-filled league game we had in January was against Cairo Ellie. We opened the scoring after Foyle pounced onto a loose ball following a corner to put us 1-0 up. Fox then played in Arnold, who applied a finish to make it 2. They pulled one back as Spence powered in a header at the far post. Palmer was on hand to thump this one in just before half-time to restore our 2-goal cushion. Reese hammered this one in the 86th minute to set up a nervy end to the game. But last year's Player of the Year, Joe Nightingale, popped up to nod this one in the 93rd minute to make the game 4-2. That was a fun one. Okay, so it says here that it's cup time again. Okay, well, I mean, here it is. And also, in other news, we've got the Nathaniel MG Cup final. And amazingly, this is being contested between 2 Tier 2 teams. It's Briton Ferry versus Holywell. They're struggling down in 11th place in the JD Cymru North, which makes it even more surprising that they've made it to this final. They did beat Premier Division Airbus UK and Carnarvon to make it here, so they're no pushovers. In a really strange coincidence, this is actually a repeat of a final we played last season as well, as we beat them in the Tier 2 League Cup final last season. So let's hope for a similar result this time. Foyo again showed his quick thinking to react to this defensive error to put us up and ease our nerves. Our turn for defensive errors next as Powell was caught in possession and Whitmore capitalised. Palmer used his jump and reach to good effect to head in this Sellers cross. A lovely ball from Fox played in Foyo for this spectacular finish. Bonus points for it bouncing in off the crossbar. Arnold then timed his run well to beat the offside trap and put this one away. They pulled one back late on via Alexandro, but it was too little too late, and we've won the Nathaniel MG Cup. We also managed a 2-1 win over Pontredor and a 4-0 win over Pontypridd in the league, which means we're now sitting 5 points clear of Llanelli Town and Abertillery Bluebirds. Finally, a little bit of breathing room. Around this time, I completed my National A licence, which enhances my ability as a coach and also increases my reputation to help me in the future. So I put in a cheeky request to study for my Continental C licence. And as usual, they were quick to say no via email, but also as usual, when I requested a meeting about it, they were more than happy to approve it. Win the chairman's just much more agreeable in face-to-face meetings, it seems. It's a weird one because this is about the 3rd time this chain of events has happened. I request a coaching badge, they say no, I say please, they say yes. But hey, as long as I'm getting my badges done, I'm happy. Also, as it's January, it's time for a mid-season stat update. Our top scorer is lonely striker Jamie Arnold with 24 goals and 5 assists in 37 appearances. Darren Palmer isn't far behind in the goal front with 21 goals, but he also has 14 assists. Foyle has also been chipping in with the goal contributions with 18 goals and 11 assists. Sellers has been contributing from the left with 10 goals and 8 assists. Pennington was also doing great with 11 assists before his unfortunate injury. So if you've watched this far into the video, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. Obligatory YouTube stuff now, just want to say please like the video if you're enjoying it, it really does help push it out to more people and this channel is tiny, so the more help the better. And if you do want to see more videos like this in future, hit that subscribe button, you'll know when they're coming out, and the subscriber number going up will make me happy. It's win-win. So going into February, this was one of our quieter months with just 4 games. We came up against Llanthwit Major in the JD Welsh Cup quarter-final. We lost to them 1-0 earlier in the season, so let's try and avenge that. Things got off to a lively start as Frankie Baker and Jamie Arnold both had goals disallowed. However, Baker and Arnold did manage to stay onside to combine to open the scoring for us. Llanthwit Major then equalised thanks to this goal from Derry, set up by a strange Derry-based superhero named Cheeseman. You won't get away with this, Cheeseman! No, hang on. It says here this is Gareth Cheeseman, who's actually an academy prospect for Llanthwit Major. Fair enough. So the game then went to penalties. And unfortunately, our top scorer, Jamie Arnold, had his penalty saved, which turned out to be the difference maker as we crashed out. I'm afraid there's no Europe for us this season. We did manage a nice 3-0 win over Carmarthen in the league though. Sellers heading in a Samuel Smith cross to put us ahead. Sellers then turned provider as Arnold timed his run well to convert this one. It was then Arnold's turn to become provider, as he played in young lonely striker Frankie Baker, who placed his effort from range to make it 3-0 to us. Baker's going well, he's scored 4 goals in 5 appearances so far. We also won 2-0 against Mimbles and 2-1 against Abergavenny to help cleanse the palate following that bitter cup exit. We're now comfortably top of the league, with a game in hand over Llanelli Town. They sit in 2nd place. We're firmly in the driving seat, but it's not beyond doubt. We're getting to the business end of the season now. In March, Tom Midgley, who was my first ever signing at this club, picked up an injury, and at this point, I realised I had no adequate cover at left back at all, because Tom Midgley had just been an ever-present in the team for the last 2 seasons. I rushed out and panic signed somebody my director of football recommended. We picked up Lincoln McFadden, who's a huge upgrade in every way with mega physicals and good technical ability. He was last at Swansea and was on loan at Penabont last season. He's going to make a great attacking left back for us. Sorry Tom Midgley, but I guess the moral of the story is don't get injured. We had a semi-final of the Tier 2 League Cup this month. Yeah, I'd forgotten we were in that competition as well. We last played in this competition on the 30th of November. This game's taken place on the 22nd of March. That's too long a gap for a cup competition. I've got a very short attention. Spandau Ballet must be playing because we're going for gold. Because if we win this game, we get a chance to win this competition back to back. I would very much like to do this, please. Turns out our new left-back McFadden can hit a penalty as he scored one to put us ahead. He's already scored 3 goals in 4 appearances from left-back. Arnold put this one away from close range to double our lead. Palmer was at it again, leaping like a salmon at the far post to head in this seller's cross. They got a consolation goal as Eames scored a Scholes-esque goal from midfield, but we'd done enough to earn our 2nd cup of the season. 2 cups. Imagine 2 of these. Think of all the tea you could drink. And in the league, things are going well. We've really hit our stride now. As you can see by us putting 4 past Cardiff Drax, 5 past Avon Lido, and 4 past Cumbrae Celtic. Our next game is against Llanelli Town, who are 8 points ahead of us in the league with 3 games remaining. That means a win here would secure the title. You didn't hear a word I just said, did you? You're distracted by the fact that terrible superhero Cheeseman is just behind Palmer in the league assists. Damn you, Cheeseman! The game was a cagey affair, the significance of the fixture perhaps having some sort of effect on our players. That is until the 54th minute when Frankie Baker did ever so well to thunder this one in to calm our nerves. Palmer crossed in for Arnold, who beat the keeper to this one to double our lead. Palmer was on hand again with the assist, putting this one on a plate for Sellers to score. They got one back in the 91st minute thanks to this goal from Williams. We're out of this division, and the Premier Division awaits. The board gave us our budgets. We've got 5.75k per week for wages, and 29.55k for transfers. I should be able to work with that. Moving into April, an old Winnie the Chairman offered me a new contract. I'm now on £230 per week, which is up from the £170 per week I was on previously. I did ask him if I could have a heater in his porter cabin / flat, but he said he was about to go through a tunnel and he's going to lose signal. This was in a face-to-face meeting, but this is a really positive time. Earlier on in the season, nobody wanted to sign a renewal. I was really worried that we were going to have to do a full rebuild from scratch again. But now we've got promotion confirmed, people are more willing to sign, and I've managed to sign up all the players I want for next season, so we've got a really strong foundation to build upon now. Back in the league, quite an interesting development has happened, as with just 1 game to go, 5 teams sit on 28 points with 2 relegation places remaining. Imagine being a supporter of one of those teams. This is proper tense final day drama. Any 2 from Abergavenny, Pontryagin, Avon Lido, Cardiff Corries and Pontypridd could join Cumbrae Celtic in going down. So let's see how it ended up. Cardiff Corries and Pontypridd go down, Avon Lido stay up thanks to goal difference, and we ended up winning the league comfortably by 11 points and go up as deserved champions. We then have the small matter of the unforgettable Tier 2 League Cup. We're up against Conway in the final. So let's look at how we got on. Palmer got one of his trademark far post headers to open the scoring. Baker headed in this Palmer cross to make it 2. Incidentally, since we have 2 good strikers in Baker and Arnold, Foyo has demonstrated his versatility, quality and overall worth to us by dropping into the deep line playmaker position and doing a great job for us there too. He's my hero. Speaking of Foyo, he unselfishly let Arnold take this one off his feet for our 3rd. We kept the party going as Arnold played in Palmer for this goal. A McFadden corner found its way into the head of Bailey for number 5. Baker then scored this strange header as Palmer basically steamed the ball at his head and it ricocheted in. McFadden calmly scored this penalty, and we rounded things off with Baker setting up Arnold for number 8. Foyle, Palmer, Baker and Arnold were all amazing in this game. A proper party atmosphere to end the season. The board also announced the addition of 250 seats, which is going to set us back about 35 grand, but this should be done before the new season starts. End of season review time now. Darren Palmer was crowned as the best signing. He's been immense and started every single game with 50 appearances. He's got 27 goals and 24 assists, and I'm glad to report he signed for another year as well. Unsurprising then that Palmer also won Fans Player of the Season, Young Player of the Season, Most Assists, and Most Man of the Match awards. Top goal scorer was Jamie Arnold with a great return of 35 goals from the lone East striker. Osman Foyo scored 22 goals and got 14 assists and played as a deep line playmaker, attack midfielder and a striker across the season. We had a very settled starting 11, as you can see with Samuel Smith, Powell, Bailey, Palmer, Arnold, Halford and Sellers all making 50 appearances across the season. The board wants us to qualify for Europe next season, and I think these players can do that. We've assembled a team far too good for this level, and to be fair, Win the Chairman has backed us with very good budgets. So watch out Welsh Premier, Briton Ferry are coming. So if you enjoyed that video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a comment to say hello, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers!